Good morning, Mascha.
Hello. Good morning,
Oh, well, it's your
Christine.
afternoon, my morning. Yeah, well, you're welcome. And I just want to give a little explanation here. I'm Christine from Empaths. It's a website, blog, and forum. Been doing videos for about 3 years now, or maybe a little more. I work with a woman named Claudia, who is the co-founder of the website, and she'll be on the recording shortly. What happened was that Mascha and I got to know each other through Facebook, and I started resonating with the work she was doing, and I wanted to know a little more, so reached out. And we've had several conversations. What we're looking at and what we're going to be talking about, then I'll let you introduce yourself, Mascha, is that we, people, divine beings on planet Earth, Mother, have been robbed of our inheritance, our divine abundant inheritance. And in looking through all the matrix, all the overlays, everything, looking for a way, a means, a transit where we can support each other. And that's where I found Mascha's work. We had several conversations where we went through different terminologies from money to whatever, and realized that we were in accord. When I like the word accord because we're in a harmony with each other. So Mascha, I know very little about you. Would you please introduce yourself and your work?
Absolutely. Yeah. My name is Mascha. I am born in 1961. I'm the eldest of 7 girls. So I have 6 sisters. I am born in the southwest part of the Netherlands. I'm an educated nurse. I didn't know nothing about the corporations and the overlays, etc. In the year 2005, I think, there was a wake-up call because I received a mail from a shaman, and he wanted to do an earth healing in the Netherlands to make it happen that the Netherlands would not overflood by the water coming. And I felt something is not right in this intent, because when there is an imbalance on Earth, then we need to look to the whole imbalance and not only to the imbalance in the Netherlands. So I started to do earth healings and started to have my own practice, started to support people in finding their inner core being, supporting them to find their source power, started to massage people, things like that. And in the year 2008, I was on the internet finding the website The Feminine Touch.
Mm-hmm.
That was the website of Astrid van Triet. And there was an immediate recognition. On my website, from the beginning, there was an introduction that it was my heartfelt longing to co-create a worldwide community where the means were shared in equity and equality. And her website, Feminine Touch, the word itself, the name itself, says it all. And she was working on this subject also, and together we enclosed the awareness of a free, unburdening living together on Earth. So, yeah.
Okay, during
for
the
10 years now, sorry.
Yeah, so during that process, I'm sure that you started going down many rabbit holes and looking at what many call the matrix, which is a false name because the matrix is actually the mother.
Absolutely.
So I just call it the control grid. It's non-gender specific. So I'm sure you have gone through those pathways also of lifting off your own personal belief systems And
Yeah.
this is where we are now, Masha. And
Yeah.
in the now moment that you speak of, and we will start the presentation shortly, it is the moment of creation, and it is the moment of action within that
Yeah.
creation, and that's what you're looking for. And so I really
Absolutely.
thank you. Myself, I've also explored other possibilities, potentialities based on our core energy with the core energy of the earth, and listening deeply
Yeah.
to those impulses.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you really
Mm-hmm.
must pierce through your own veils and remove the overlays within your own consciousness.
Yeah.
And once you have
Yeah.
touched it, and maybe you're not there all the time, but once you have touched it, you know it. And that's what I think many people refer to as
Yeah.
knowing.
You know the difference when you are here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
You feel the difference when you are here. This is
mm-hmm,
your essence, your source, or the overlays in your own psyche.
mm-hmm,
And when you realize I am not here, I am here, then you are back.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Masha. Well, I have so enjoyed getting to know you. And I just realized that what we started as a discussion to what we were going to be recording, we ended up recording it, and we needed to have a little intro here. So I will put this on the beginning, and we'll get this out soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Sometimes
You're welcome.
spontaneous
Thank you.
speaking comes out better than something planned.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I was saying that existence money, we need to discern existence money from our labor, our life force energy, our labor, our talents. Existence money is needed because direct access to life, to earth, is stolen from us. That's why we need existence money. And we ourselves are the counter value of that money. So nothing outside us is. We ourselves, because we are alive, and we cost nothing to society. We cost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to discern existence money and payment for our talents, our life force energy, our labor.
Mm-hmm.
That are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe we've spoken of this, Masha, and I know it's in the presentation, is that this is a transitory transition, what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's not the end all, but it's to start moving the control back to Mother Earth and us, who are the indigenous divine beings that inherited this planet as stewards. And so when one has that conscious attitude towards life, right, we in a natural setting wouldn't need money, but because we're not in a natural setting, we're in what you say it was stolen from us. Then what you're speaking of is starting what you're calling a life circle, where we support each other or somehow bring forward the idea that we need money right now. And it's not based on merit. It's not based on talent. It's not based on working in the labor force, right? It's basically fundamentally who we are and what we're worth to life itself. Am I getting that?
Yeah, kind of. When we would have direct access to Earth and her resources and each other's talent, we would live in circles. So that is in the presentation. Maybe we should talk about that when we use a presentation, the images along that. Because otherwise we will repeat ourselves, I guess.
Okay, well, this is sort of it's like a merging of, it's like bringing consciousness into a linear thought form or into a presentation. So it's just coming together where you are. I can share the screen right now and bring the presentation up if you would like me to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
I haven't done this for a while, Claudia.
I know.
I know. There it is.
It's as if
Yeah.
we have nothing to say.
Let me see if this is the right one. Da, 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 da. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I created those images to make it more visible for people what I am passing on. The awareness from a free, unburdening living together. When we have Earth, so we can imagine Earth and her resources and people's talents. When we would have direct access to Earth and her resources and each other's talents, we would live together without any overlay, without any. No written rules, laws, etc. No structures, no organizations as we know them now. And we would live together in overlapping circles. That's the next slide.
Okay. Can I ask a question
Yes, of course.
along that line? Because this is where I brought in that piece about consciousness, because what's happened, which was directed, indoctrinated by the hands of a few, is that we stopped being stewards. We stopped honoring the sacredness of our planet. And so those resources that she so freely, abundantly gave us were misused, misappropriated.
Mhm.
And so I would imagine that in that imagination aspect of it, I mean, we need to know that that's how we have to act.
Absolutely. Because when we look at money, the gold backed up money, then we are talking about the gold, and gold is the blood of the earth. So we have stolen the blood of the earth also, and the oil and the pipelines and things like that. So we are abusing earth also. So we are abused, but earth herself is abused also. Yeah, so that awareness is essential also.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what I was trying to say, is that, and we've talked about it, is that the consciousness has to reach let's say, a certain vibration or a certain understanding of that, so that this can be put into effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, do you want to say anything about this slide, or should I go to the next one?
Yeah. So this image is about living in circles, overlapping circles. We are part of several groups. And so this image is showing how we live together in overlapping circles directly. So no in between, no structures, no organizations, just us living together directly and having a direct access to Earth also.
Okay.
Is that clear?
It's very clear.
Yeah.
I mean, but of course, my logical mind that is living on this falsely embedded matrix says, how are we going to do that? And I think most people will ask that question. How do we do it without structure?
Yeah. So I choose to visualize this first, because this is an organic living together. And that's not the situation we have, the reality in the here and now. So that's correct. So when we live in circles, in overlapping circles, we can have direct exchange, as this image is showing. Direct exchange of products and services. And among each other, we make an appointment, a mutual appointment. Do you say that in English like that? A bread exchanging for an egg, or a bread exchanging for 3 eggs. We decide that among each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Totally. I mean, one of the biggest problems that we do confront here is when the middleman came in, when the tax agent came in, when
Absolutely.
Somebody started hoarding all the eggs or all the bread or all the apples or whatever you would have it, and then making a profit off of that. So I mean, when you're looking at this image, I mean, the first thing I think, Mascha, is, well, this is local. You have to do this locally.
Hmm.
And I would think in some cases, people's minds would say, well, this is going to become problematic.
Yeah, this happens locally, of course. The local exchange, local exchange trading systems, I guess
Mm-hmm.
it is called. Yeah. So this happens locally. There are so many platforms also and groups who do this locally. So this happens.
Mm-hmm.
But people can't pay their rent and etc. So most of their basic needs are are occupied in money. So they need money to access their first needs, most of their first needs, and mostly warmth, rent, shelter, etc. That kind of things.
Okay, let me go to the next slide.
Yeah. So when we have a medium of exchange, we can have an exchange when I have a bread and you have meat.
Oops.
Yeah. But I want an apple. Then we can have an exchange when we use a medium of exchange. And the medium of exchange, as we know now, the money as we know now, I'm not talking about that kind of money when I show this image. I'm talking about a medium of exchange that is a simple medium of exchange, nothing more, nothing less.
So when you say a medium of exchange, like to expand this out a little bit more, I mean, we've gone from shells to coins to fake dollar bills, right? Monopoly money. So how, I'm assuming you'll get into that a little bit. What would be that medium of exchange?
Yeah, it can also be virtual money numbers. It doesn't matter. It can
Mm-hmm.
be coupons. It can be coupons.
Mm-hmm.
The when we go to the next slide and the slides coming, then it becomes more clear, I guess. So when we have Earth and our direct living togetherness, and then we see the overlays as we know them in the here now. So the written rules and laws, the government, the taxing agency, the welfare bureau, all the structures and the corporations are the overlays by which we do not have the direct access to Earth and her resources and each other's talents. So that is the picture below showing that are the overlays. And that's the reality of the here and now,
Mm-hmm.
the overlays. So in fact, that what you see in the below are the overlays over which are laid over our direct living togetherness.
Mm-hmm. I just want to add a little something because Claudia and I have done a lot of research on this, even going into the law structure, the context within which we're having our life form right now. And so most people look at that government taxes, income, property taxes, all of that, and they think, well, that's just how that's normal. And so I just want to clarify your word overlay is actually these are impositions and they're illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they
Yeah.
were structured illegally to rob the people, which is our lifeblood, which is our life source. I mean, we've used
Exactly.
the matrix, you know. So I don't. It's not like they are overlays because you have to move through them by becoming educated what they are, how they were established, and why they are there. For somebody to say, "Wait a minute, I don't give my consent to that any longer."
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Mm-hmm.
dual action of
Yeah, it are the written rules and laws which are legal but unlawful according natural law.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I think that's very, very vital. And I think
yeah.
more people I hear are really getting to that point that these laws, that law-abiding citizens think they're good citizens by obeying them, are actually immoral and
Mhm.
unlawful. And they're
Mhm.
written by,
It's a
Yeah,
criminal offense, really, to pay taxes. And
yes.
yet we are on a daily basis, we are absolutely forced because we can't even buy food without having a tax imposed on it.
Mhm.
Mhm, mhm,
And it's absolutely not needed. We have
No,
proven that. It is
yeah,
not needed at all. So, yes, it is
mhm,
unlawful, it is legal, but unlawful, and it
mhm,
is not necessary at all. And so, when you perceive the structures and the organizations people are giving their life force and to, so the
mhm,
taxing bureau, people are working in the taxing bureaus, the military, the police. As we know them now, I'm talking about reality in the here and now, the welfare bureaus, etc., etc. When you become aware, you withdraw your energy from those organizations and corporations. But people need the money to have access to their first needs. So in the here and now, it's a bit difficult for people to withdraw themselves from those corporations. But
mhm,
yeah, I have done
mhm.
it, so it is possible
Well,
to do.
I think that's why I started the part of the conversation in the record is that there is that aspect, that core, and we'll get to that. I know you talk about that, that core aspect of my being. I exist, therefore I am, and I am a living, breathing being. And so the closer one gets to that place, you may have to give up a lot of things. Too many
Yes.
cars, too many televisions, the newest clothes, all those little goodies that are doled out to satisfy the ego need. But what you obtain in exchange for that is the real knowledge, and this is where I get to, is that what you're calling existence money, and what we're saying is that I'm provided for. I'm worthy because I exist. And so
Absolutely.
it's somehow some miracle, some unfathomable way that maybe we don't even understand quite yet. You are provided for. And I have other friends that way too, that have had to like trust the universal flow of their existence. And somehow they get out. They're provided for, and it's so vital that we speak about this, because the first thing that comes in to keep anybody from moving out of the taxation or the government programs or any of that is fear. How am I
Yeah.
going to get along without money? How can I get along without my government? Oh my God, if I don't pay my taxes, are they going to
Mhm.
send the military to my door and kick it in and take everything I own away? You see, so we're talking on some deep levels here too.
Mhm. Yeah, we have written a book. What if government dissolves? And in that book is what we need in our living togetherness. Uh, even so, what we need when we even can't think about the idea that we do not have a government. What do we need among each other when the government is not ruling our lives? So, what do we need among each other? And we have found that when we have existence money and there is no power over anymore, it will dissolve because existence money will work through all the overlays and dissolve them, or they have to transmute in the end, and eventually it will all dissolve. So it is a transitional phase indeed. It's not the end.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to the next slide and
Yeah.
develop this. Mhm.
So this slide says that existence money is the correction. It's not the it doesn't heal the overlays. It doesn't dissolve them. The overlays are still here, but existence money is the correction of the robbery and will work through all the overlays. And eventually, the overlays have to dissolve because of existence money.
Mm-hmm. So I want to bring up another point, like Claudia talked to, but I mean, they're like you, Mosh, and like Claudia, we've all been, let's just say, out in the inner investigation world for a long time. And there's a lot of people are waiting for the bring down of the cabal and the release of the abundance back to the people. And some are waiting for the RV, and some are waiting for this, or they're waiting, and I just want to underline the difference between what you're saying and also where I stand is that it's going to come down to we, the people, direct contact. I mean, for me, that aspect of, we're waiting for the system to come down and then we'll all be okay, is a false one. It's held out there to keep people from doing what we can do for each other.
Yeah, the truth is, abundance is. We do not need to create nor attract abundance to us because it is. But abundance is in a robbed state. That is the reality of the here and now. So when people do not live in abundance, it's not their fault. We can't say in the reality of the here and now, you do not live in abundance, you do not have a shelter or enough money or things like that. So you are doing something wrong. And you need a workshop and have some tools to attract money to you, the secret kind of things. But it is not about that. Abundance is, but it is in a robbed state. So it is a big error to tell people that it's their own fault in the reality of the now, that they do not experience abundance in their life because it is robbed because of the overlays.
Totally. Overlays, the wars, everything, the rapes. I mean, we could get deep into that. So, I mean, that is a vital point, Mascha, because we are entrained mentally to think that we do not deserve. If we don't, if we are in lack, there is an automatic mind reaction that says that I must be doing something wrong. But that's in context with the overlays. That's in context with the societal norms. That's in context with the way we've been.
Shortage and lack is caused on this earth. So when people do experience poverty or lack of money, it's not their fault.
And it goes deeper. I mean, our very lifeblood, our vital energy is being drained away all the time.
Yeah, it's all about our life force energy. Yeah.
So what you're bringing forward then is some way for us to begin to imagine that every living being on this planet, and we'll speak of the human being right now, is in natural abundance. It's natural.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are here on earth bringing our gifts. We are not lack ourselves. We are abundant. We are. But we are robbed in a robbed state. Also, they are robbing our life force energy.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay.
Yeah. This is another way of explaining what I visualized before, the former two slides. Here we have Earth and the black hole in the middle. The black hole in the middle is the reality of the here now, direct access to Earth that is stolen from us. And here we see kind of a donut. And in the Netherlands, I do not know if it's out abroad the same thing, but they are talking about a donut economy. And we see the shape of the donuts here. But the donut economy is all about that what we see, what is Earth. So not the dot in the middle, not the black hole. It's all about the overlay still. Yeah. So what is showed as Earth is the duality, really. It's perceived from duality, the old paradigm, and all solutions within that old paradigm are prolonging the structures and the organizations and the current shit that is caused on Earth. It will not dissolve the black hole in the middle. So when we focus on economics and the systems and not on people, we are still perceiving our Earth and our living togetherness from duality, not from unity. When we perceive our living togetherness from oneness, from unity, we solve, we correct the black hole. So, and that's the next slide.
Okay. I have a lot. I know I have
do you
a lot
have questions?
No, I actually have an inverse reality to put with what you're speaking of, because when I look at this image, I see the black sun. I see the energy force field, okay, that is all providing. So I know you're going to show that in the next slide, but instead of like, I see, you know,
I can imagine that you see it like that, because it's like a Taurus also.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
yeah. So, but I'm using this image to explain the black hole in the middle.
I mean, basically, what you're saying is that through this erroneous overstructure, okay, that's being manipulated, energy is being taken away from living beings. You know?
Yes, absolutely. Right. And when we focus on economics and systems, then it's still the duality. So that are the red arrows. That's why I draw them like I did. And the black hole is overlooked. So the essence from 0 point, you can say 0 point also, is overlooked.
But you're purposely, okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So when we put existence money in the black hole, then we have the correction of what is missing on Earth. And the existence money will work through all the overlays that are the white arrows.
Okay. Good. I want to get into how this is going to be accomplished.
Yes. So when we look at the reality of the now, how banks create money, they create money numbers out of nothing on behalf of mortgages and loans, which are not loans at all, because it is created money out of thin air. And creating money out of thin air is not a problem. The money creation moment is the problem. Because why? Only people who are well already can go to the bank and ask for a mortgage or a loan. And I do loan between, how do you call that? Because it are not quotes, it are not loans. So only people who are having well already can go to the bank for a mortgage. Even tons, 7 tons even, and loans. And people who are have nothing or have not enough are not able to go to the bank and ask for a mortgage. So people who are already well can go to the bank and ask for a mortgage or a loan, and people who have nothing can't. So there is a huge inequity created, caused among people. So the rich become more rich and the poor become more poor. And it's not a judgment about rich people and poor people. I'm saying this to make this clear what is happening in the here now. Banks create money out of nothing. That's not the problem. The money creation moment is the problem. So we are not waiting for the gold backed up money. Gold belongs to the earth. It causes a lot of pain and damage to the earth and people to dig for the gold. Is it to mine the gold?
To mine the gold,
and, yeah, and it is not needed at all.
Well, I mean, this is, I'm going to play with what you're saying right now. Well, there's a couple of things that come to my mind, and the people understand about banks. And they understand that we're not talking about your local bank that was set up to help the community 50, 100 years ago. We are talking about, we can call it the cabal, the banksters. This is an international criminal organization.
Absolutely.
Okay, that is creating money for their own benefit at human beings' expense. This is the robbery. Yes. This is the basis of the robbery. You know, and I won't go into some of the other things right now that would take away from this. So basically what we're saying, and, you know, even cryptocurrency, which I'll just throw out here for a second, it in itself is not clean money. I mean, yes, it was created, okay, out of nothing, and people agreed to value. Most people dealing with cryptos are doing it to accumulate massive amounts of wealth. Exactly. The other problem with cryptocurrencies is the massive amount of energy it takes to mine Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
So it's not clean money. So you're talking about something else, just to put that clear.
Yeah. Okay. This slide is to show how banks work, and I'm not going in depth in how banks work, because I think many people already know how money is created.
No, so many don't, Mascha. That's really the shocker for me. People don't understand how money is created. They actually think that...
so should we say something about that?
Well,
Because
I mean,
money is a product. It's a product.
It's under usury, which is that any money that you take from a bank, you are being charged an interest on. That interest that you have to pay back to the bank, they can lend out, well, they say 10 times. I would believe it's many times more. They balance digital numbers on a screen. There's nothing real there. Absolutely. I mean, I just think that people really need to do their own investigation. You know,
it's our numbers in a spreadsheet.
Yes.
And that in itself is not a problem, because I'm saying it, I said it already, creating money out of nothing is not a problem, because money doesn't grow on trees or something like that. So that in itself is not a problem, but money creation moment is the problem. And they are creating money in debt. And also, when money is created in credit, people need to pay it back. And that is one of the problems. And the other problem is that only those who are already well can go to the bank for a mortgage and a loan. And those who are not well at all can't. So that's causing the inequity among people.
Not to mention that those that create the money, which is a handful of individuals on the planet, have the majority of the manipulation of the control. So people think the economy is a natural phenomena. In a natural world, it is, but it's not in a natural world any longer. So, I mean, this is where we, you, I, Claudia, others, start to imagine a way out of this.
Yeah. Exactly. So when you look at this slide, it becomes visible, and hopefully people can feel it also, that we ourselves are the counter value of money. Not silver, not gold, not salt, not stock, nothing outside of us is the counter value of money. And I put money between quotes also, because now I'm talking about the transmuted money. So that's something different than the banks are creating in the here and now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then
We ourselves are the counter value of money, existence money. I'm talking about now, and because we bring that money numbers to the existence economy. So that's on the one of the next slides, I guess. Yeah. So existence money, you could say existence value also. Thank you, Christine, because you came up with that. Existence value, another word for money. And I think first it's needed to talk about money, economics, and banks, etc., because people know those concepts. When we use other words, they can't relate to that. But also, people have used huge loads on money and etc. So first, it's important to use the words we all know, but then we can, when we understand, when we have awareness about this, then we can use other words, and existence value is a wonderful word, I think. And an adult would have economical value of 1,000, 1,500. It depends on where you live on this earth. And a child would have 250, 300, or 200, 250. So when we look at a family, 2 adults and 2 children, then you see that the amount they should receive as existence money is more than enough to get their basic needs met. And it's all about that, the correction of the fact that the direct access to Earth, her resources, and each other's talents are robbed from us. So still talking about the correction.
So what you're speaking of is that through whatever means that we can come up to, that we create money, we give it the value on it, okay? Mm-hmm. We can exchange it, and we give a family, a human being somewhere anywhere on the planet, everywhere on the planet, that existence value. So
absolutely.
So if you're living, I'm living in Mexico, and so therefore whatever that would be determined what I need to have a roof over my head and food in my stomach and not have to worry every day about my existence.
Exactly. When we look at abundance, it means there is enough for everyone's need, mm-hmm. but not enough for people's greed. Mm-hmm. So mm-hmm. abundance would means we have enough numbers to get our basic needs met in the reality of the here and now. So mm-hmm. when the overlays are dissolved, we are not in need of existence money anymore. Then existence money has done her work. They are creating money on behalf of mortgages and loans. And the right money creation moment is our own existence, mm-hmm. our own free existence, money or value. It depends on how you want to call it.
How does this get implemented? And I mean, it's going to take some serious education and some serious understanding, deep comprehension, I would say, of what you're speaking about.
So here we see the 0 point. And when we perceive Earth and our living togetherness from 0 point, we can see what is needed in the here and now to correct the inequity that is caused on Earth. So it looks like this slide is about money, but it's all about our free living togetherness. Are you getting that, Christine?
Yeah.
Because the word, yeah?
No, yes, of course I do. But I'm actually thinking right now along the lines of really what it takes is us, the larger us, is creating that form, which we call money right now, and distributing it outside of the system.
Yeah, the reality is that we need euro, dollar, pounds, etc., to get our basic needs met. So we had a facilitation platform. It was called Equiplace, Aka Money Place, and we could create our own existence money. Equi, we called it. So it looks as if this image is about money, but it is not. It is all about our free living togetherness. The transition is not about money, but goes via money. And so many people do not get that because people want to get rid of money. But when you want to get rid of money, you haven't understood it also, because we need to correct the inequity, and we live in the reality of the here and now. And access to our first needs is occupied in money. So in the here and now, we need money to get our first needs met. That's why we need money in the here and now. And most of us need money in the here and now. Some don't, but most of us need money numbers in the here and now. And then I am talking about euro, US dollar, pounds, etc. Yeah. So the correction is existence value, existence money. Existence money is existence value. That's the same. And to correct the inequity that is caused on Earth, we should have money creation of 1 ton for all humans. For all humans.
Question. Okay, 1 ton. What does that mean? 1 ton.
1 ton money creation.
Yeah, so, I don't know. What does the 1 ton?
Oh, 1 and 1 to 5 zeros.
Oh, okay. Because in English it's a weight. So I'm like,
how do you call it?
It's 1 ton is a weight equal 12,000 pounds.
Okay. So yeah, I should have written that, I think.
Okay. So I got it. So
maybe
it's a number. It's a number.
Yeah,
it's a number.
It's a number. Yeah,
okay.
And when that would not be enough, we can do it again, because it costs nothing to create money numbers in a spreadsheet. Yeah. So the life impulses, I have written that on the slide also. The monthly existence money, the only money creation moment, the immediate stop of evictions. That's not an error. Immediate stop creating money on behalf of mortgages and loans, and 1 ton money creation for all humanity as rectification of the past. So the inequity that is caused among people, a group of people could create money numbers for themselves on behalf of a mortgage and a loan, and another group of people couldn't. So we must correct that also.
We're talking about a vast spread of financial well-being on the planet, from poverty-stricken, war-strewn countries to the ultra-rich. So is this for every single being? And what does that mean for those that have these huge holdings in the outward structure? Yeah, okay, let me just, use a name it. Okay, we have like a Donald Trump. Okay, we have somebody that has more billions than he could ever possibly spend, and he's hoarding money all the time, right? So when we're talking about coming to what are those beings? How are they looked upon within what you're talking about? Do they
Yeah.
get existence money also?
Yeah, they get it also. And people
Okay.
who are in prison, they get it also.
Right.
There is no division amongst people. And that can be somewhat hard to digest, of course, because we know those are criminals. But we need to realize that it doesn't take anything away from us when a criminal get existence money also. So it is not taking away something from us. And in the reality of the now, the overlays and the structures and the organizations and the bank structures, etc., it is taking away things of us. It's robbing our life force.
Well, actually, it's a system, and the labor force of prisoners. I mean, these are privately owned prisons, right? And people are imprisoned to keep them locked up in a labor force. I have no problem with that, Masha, but it does take down breaking apart some of the mental structures, social engineered structures in our mind. And again, I'll just keep saying, people need to do their own research, because until you have a full view of how this matrix construct was created and for what purpose it was created, these concepts are hard for some people, Masha, that's all I'm saying.
I think it'll be a vast learning process for everyone, not just for what is now known as the elite, not just the poor people. It's basically, I think the top priority would be to get rid of the thought of reward and punishment. Just because someone is in the elite and has nothing but to hoard possessions. We are all humans who live on this planet. And somebody will in order for things to change at all, somebody has to make a start to leave behind that system. And what better start to recognize everyone as equal, because we were born equal.
How someone became that criminal, what happened to them. So yeah, we it's about forgiveness. It's about letting
exactly.
It's about letting go of judgmental, being judgmental also. And I'm not saying that those who have committed crimes should not be punished, but it's difficult punishment. When we look at Iris Brahen law, I guess it's called. Are you familiar with that, Claudia? Iris Brahen law. That's kind of natural law. And people lived in groups, and when someone went astray, they all came together, and there were a circle of wise men and women, and they talked about it. And so it was not so much about punishment, but about getting the chance to correct themselves.
Yes, correction rather than punishment. I'm totally behind that.
Yeah.
I think we can I'll go a little deeper here. When we're talking about a psychopath or somebody who is what we would call evil or a lost cause in a way, punishment is the wrong approach to begin with. Because I know experientially and also in working with other people that when a field is flooded with care and love and compassion, you see, the problem is on the planet, there's not enough of that, right? That being that's holding that malicious intent suffers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it has to start to recognize itself.
Yeah, Absolutely.
And it will usually take itself away, or it will start a regenerative process. But that's not some overlordly authoritarian police force that's invoking punishment. It's a very different dynamic.
Absolutely, yeah. When you know yourself and you truly love yourself and you have the true awareness, love is pouring out of you, then that's the true awareness, I guess, the true love. Then you do not feel the need to manipulate, to power over, to all those things. Okay, so you ask yourself how to apply existence money. How do we get it into existence? And the facilitation can be done on 3 layers: through the government, and now I have quoted the word government, because when facilitation of existence money and the other life impulses would be done through the government, there would not be a government anymore. They would have transmuted into facilitation bureaus. But they have the possibility to order their state bank, for example, to implement the one programming rule. And one programming rule means that with only one programming rule in a banking application, every human on earth can receive their existence money. It is as simple as that. It costs nothing. It's only one programming rule by which every human receives their existence money. So the government can facilitate. With the government reviews, which they do today, the banks could facilitate also, but they are refusing also. And when we know the structure, it's clear, of course, because the governments are even ruled by the banks. So it's clear that they will not facilitate this, and people must get this, because this is essential. When they trust on their government, they must it must become clear that their government is not protecting them, not our living togetherness. The government is protecting the systems and the structures and the banks. And the banks are the huge control system. As long as you vote, as long as you trust on your government, you are lost. Make it clear to the government that you want change and how you do want the change. But in the reality of the here and now, there is no facilitation on the layer of the government, no facilitation on the layer of the banks. We can do it among each other. And that works through the life circles. So here comes the life. Via the life circle, we contribute money to our fellow humans. And with money, I mean euro, US dollar, pounds, because our fellow humans need that kind of money to get their basic needs met. Yeah, but it must absolutely be clear and become clear. And that's about awareness and consciousness indeed, Christine. That's the government and the banks are the controlling systems and are not facilitating us, are not protecting us. Police, the military are not protecting us. They are all protecting the systems and the structures. Yes.
Which I think more and more people are wisening up to that, at least.
Right. Which
again, Claudia, again?
I think more and more people are wisening up to that.
Yeah.
Finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they feel that people who became aware feel stuck because they do not know what now. We see it. We see what is the issue. But what now? The answer is given, and the answer is not a solution in the sense we know it from the old paradigm. The answer is a choice, and the choice we must make ourselves. And we can refuse to make that choice. Also, choice comes from the inner impulse, inner heartfelt longing, the inner core heartfelt longing to normally live together on earth and let life flow in its own context. And when you realize that, then you choose to contribute to the free existence of your fellow human. Otherwise you will not, because you would think
I think what
it made no sense.
I think what you're saying, Mascha, I know what you're saying, and is that this next step, many people hold consciousness, and they do even understand within the reality, the real reality. You see, it's like it's a combination to me of seeing what's all wrong and what's not working, and then making a conscious choice towards something that we innately know, which is everything is connected. And but it takes breaking down a lot of programs, the internal ones also.
Exactly. Yeah, because our psyche is so used to that old patterns and that old paradigm that the indoctrination is in ourselves, in people's self. So we could complain about the government, which is valid. We could complain about the banks, which is valid also, etc., etc. But it's all on our own plate right now, because the answer is given for years already, but maybe now is the time, and this year will be the turning point when more people get it, and that would be wonderful. Free existence, money, our own value, costs nothing. We cost nothing. It costs nothing to create the money numbers in a spreadsheet. It's nothing more than that. It's only one programming rule in a facilitation platform. We couldn't speak about banks anymore when there is a facilitation platform. It would be a place instead of a bank. I made this slide to make it more clear that free existence is not the payment for your labor. So time is money. Yes, that's true. Time is your life force energy. So we need to discern existence money from your labor and time. So when you invest your labor in whatever your talent, you can get paid for that. That's not a problem at all. So the baker would get his or her own free existence money and get paid for baking bread. And your existence money is enough to get your basic needs met. So when you want to go to the baker, you have your existence money and you can pay the baker, etc. So
I would just underline what you're saying and bring that forward into a speaking way, is that when a human being is freed from the debt system, in other words, I have to work for my money so I can exist, is that human creativity, and this has been shown time and time and time again, is that human creativity therefore can manifest itself because you have more energy. So all the solutions to our ongoing problems on the planet, all that energy would be freed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely correct.
And we wouldn't have...
That's huge.
It's huge. And we wouldn't have that ideology or that system that tells us, let's see, making an automobile is more important than creating a piece of art, as an example. So now we're really getting into what is free energy, freeing our energy.
We are free energy.
Yes.
We ourselves are free energy.
Yeah. The human capacity for creating is phenomenal.
Exactly. Yeah. But in the reality of the here and now, we cannot create an apple. I can't.
No.
I have my trees in my garden, but I cannot create an apple myself.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we need to discern that also. But free energy, yeah, we are free energy. So, I was talking about a non banking facilitation platform already, and it costs nothing to implement a kind of platform. Of course, it needs some investment, or someone's labor to create a platform like that. We had created one. That one was called Equiplace, aka Money Place, and we needed to dissolve it because we didn't get her affiliated with the Euro world. So, like I told already, we could create our own existence money, but that was not euro, of course, because we can't do that ourselves. The banks only can do that. So we could create which is the equivalent. So that's the equivalent of our existence money, our existence value. So we could create our own existence money, but people need euro, US dollar to get their basic needs met. So we had that exchange. People could buy euro or US dollar and get paid for that with the equi. But that time people didn't get it. So when we create another platform in the here and now, I would love to have one as a try out surrounding for people to get a feeling what it is, a non-banking facilitation platform. And via that platform, the life circle can be facilitated also. So it can all be transparent. We must realize it in the here and now, in the reality of the here and now. People need euro, US dollar, etc., to get their basic needs met.
Mhm.
Okay.
So basically, let me just, go back to cryptocurrency for a second here. Bitcoin, when it first came out, wasn't accepted by banks. See, this is the crux of the matter for me, is that when people saw they could make a killing on it, right, and make a lot of money, then it became valued, right?
Mhm.
So you're talking about creating a currency that can be traded for dollars, pesos, euros, yen, or whatever. But we would need a collective consensus, if you will, that we agree to this and some means to exchange it.
Yeah. When Equiplace was here, people could pay me my services with Equi.
Mm-hmm.
So I offered my services for Equi, but I need some, not much, but I need some euros too, of course, to get my basic needs met. That's one. So I needed euros, so I could not offer all my services for Equi. And the other thing was, and that is the most important thing, people asked me, Mascha, I can pay you with Equi, right? Yes, you can pay me with Equi. So then I have euros to go on a vacation. But it is not that. Then you do not use the free unburdening currency on behalf of an organic living togetherness, but you use that currency to have more euro to go on a vacation or whatever. You see? So that was another thing that
Right.
time.
There was a county in California somewhere that they all got together, a small place, and they created their own currency, and the whole town traded in it, right?
Mhm.
So therefore, they completely bypassed the banks and the current monetary system. And in some way, I think that would be the place would ideally get to, is that enough said, oh, I'll trade an equi or whatever you want to call it. And
Yeah.
but that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's also
here is
they put a stop to it immediately. I know there was a place in Austria, which I think happened I think it was after the alleged end of the World War, that they started their own currency, and it was all basically quashed completely within a few months. The system stepped in and said, no, you're not allowed to do that. If you continue, you're going to end up in jail.
Yeah, there are some layers in here. People in the Netherlands are trying to get a deposito bank implemented. And the deposito bank is nothing more than a place where your money sits. So your euro, US dollar, pounds, it's not a bank really. It's only a place where your money sits. But the government doesn't give approval for a place like that. And we can imagine why, of course. And all banks are tied together. They are using one gate for all payments. So even PayPal, there is a bank behind. The ING bank is behind PayPal. And they all use one gate for all the payments all over the world. We can create a facilitation platform. It doesn't a license to do so because it's not dealing with money. So we can do that. And then it's kind of let's etc. could use that pure unburdening currency. It is a threat to the establishment, of course, but when people become more and more and more aware, they can come together and because when only one town does this, then that town can have a problem. But when more and more people understand this and more people are behind this and refusing to feed the old structures and the old systems, then we can build the new paradigm. And the new paradigm isn't unfolding in the here and now because so many people are still feeding the old. And the old we can leave the old in the sense that we can co-create the new when we make life-giving choices. And the old is still there. Here comes the life circles in, because suppose I would get my existence money. I don't get it. I only get 11 euro on a monthly basis. So I don't get my existence money. But suppose that I would get it, and there would be a facilitation platform by which I could create my own existence money, then I could offer my services again for that freely available currency. And I would only do that, I would only offer my services for that currency to people who are contributing to the free existence money of their fellow humans. Are you getting me? And so then we can build it together.
It's abundantly clear.
Right.
So it's
that's wonderful.
So where we're moving, what we're speaking to, is coming through you, Mascha, right now. And I've had many, many years to contemplate this and to imagine it. And I think that's the first key for people, is to see the possibility. And, and then they can start to move that direction. So I know from our conversations that perhaps in the near future, we can start something. And we can freely and joyfully experiment.
Yeah. That would be wonderful. And then it would become more, is that tangible? Is that the right word? It would be, people can feel it. People can see it, observe it. Now so that's why I created those images, because then it becomes more visible, hopefully, for people. But when we make it more applicable, so when we could create a life circle for someone, and we apply the life circle for only someone, when only someone is freed from the financial tyranny, that would be such a great example, because that one can communicate from the new paradigm, from the new experience. People need a new experience, but the new experience isn't unfolding. So when only one human being would receive her of his existence money, that would be huge.
Well, I feel like that the next time we get together, we'd actually like to invite some other beings, souls, to join us in this conversation. And, it's interesting when you say that, because in some very real way, manifested in my life, I have existence money. And it comes oddly, or not oddly, it comes beautifully from my own mother. You see, I mean, there's a metaphor there, right? And so that has allowed me to free up my time to live in natural flow, to have a roof and the security of a roof and food, and be able to use my own energy more creatively. And I don't put it out there in any great way at all, but it's that we can start to facilitate that for another. And like you say, one by one. And
one by one, yeah.
And we do know that energy moves exponentially. When the right moment comes and the right energy behind it, then we will see an exponential change. We're seeing it right now. Okay, we're just seeing it on the other front right now with the system.
You invited me to on this talk and having this conversation, and the opportunity to show this presentation, those images, is wonderful and huge. So something is happening. So
yeah, it is. And we were saying, like we've been talking about this for maybe a month or so now, and it's like it's flow, universal energy, life flow has its own timing. So the universe, and when we trust, and I wanted to use that word earlier, when we trust the universal flows, when we trust natural law, when we trust abundance, okay, this is the leap that we each individually have to move through, then we open up the unknown, the unimagined, the potentialities. And I feel like this is happening in many levels at the moment.
Yeah, what you were saying about you are receiving your existence money through your mother, that's so wonderful, because then you have that experience, and some other people have the experience also, of course, when you have a family and the man is working for the mother and the children, they would have their existence money also, of course. And people who are on welfare are receiving it also, but in a horrible conditional way. So you receive it unconditional.
Exactly, and that's the difference, because there's not there's always threads and fragments and things from the human psyche that I can feel sometimes, like, it's like, but for the most part, it's given freely with no expectation. Okay. I have to be conscious of my return, my own reciprocity to that generosity. That's all. I'm not expected to go out and get the right job or get a degree or get married. And most social conventions, like marriage, inherent within them is an expectation. And what we're talking about is getting free from those expectations. And I think that's a very vital point in our human consciousness
You
right now.
get it. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end our recording right now,
Yeah.
and we can just keep chatting. And by the way, I think we did it.
Yeah, I think